What I found out in life, as life goes on, life is about losing. Life is about losing. As we get older, we lose our hair, we lose our teeth, we lose our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, but it's the ones who overcome their lost in life, could shun away adversity and always willing to fight it every particular moment in life. You know what I mean? A good fight just to be diligent and committed and disciplined, doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. You know, always testing yourself and forcing yourself to the limits, you know? If you know you if you love women, then deny yourself that. You know what I mean? That's what success in general is all about, sacrifice. From my experience, of any little success I may have had, is be willing to sacrifice, you know. Unfortunately, sometimes you can't have fun accomplishing your goals. And when sometimes people don't have the determination, the will, and the steadfastness, the tenacity, they give in under the slightest struggle. And so ever since my friend died, I stayed up there and I never came back, and I became successful. I became champion at 20 years old, the youngest champion ever. But I still had that darkness in me. I had hundreds, millions, I had money, but I still had that darkness in me. That darkness wasn't out of me yet. And I got in a whole bunch of trouble. I got involved with people who had made me no good. And I lost a lot of money. I kept getting lawsuits. I got lawsuits this, lawsuit here, lawsuit here. Now, most of my money I've tricked off on lawsuits. If I spend $250 million on girls and trips and clothes, that's nothing to what I did on lawsuits, okay? So they really got me good with those lawsuits, and I still didn't have peace. I still had that old darkness from back before, because, you know, of course, my father and mother, they're addicts, and I'm not fighting anymore, and I have nothing to do. Why not I become an addict? Because that's just how it goes, right? So I become this addict now, because I always drank my whole life, never stopped drinking. When I was in the detention home, you know, it's almost like it's considered like the hole for the juvenile detention. It's like the hole, so I'm in the back room in the hole. But I see through my window, I see people from the other side getting carried in on the other side, and they got like ribs are hurting, and they got eyes, they got ice pack, but they're happy. So I said, what's going on over there? I'm thinking like, oh, we having a war, we having a gang fight over there. Yeah, let's war. But these guys are happy. No, they said, we're boxing with Mr. Stewart. And so I watched these guys, and I said, what did you see these guys in hurt ribs, bruised jaw, eye, and but they're happy that they went through this. So I said, well, I can go over there and beat this guy. He wasn't no big guy. I was heavy set guy. He was like 165, 70-pound white guy, slim. I could go slug him. You know, now that I'm wow, that's so crazy. Now that I'm experienced, I've never felt that feeling again. Now sometimes when I used to box, boom, you hit me, you feel that same feeling, but it goes away within seconds. But being a young kid, you don't know it's gonna go away within seconds. So within those 3 seconds, 4 seconds, from what I can remember from the day I was born, it was always hard times, welfare, not much food, no money, crime infested neighborhoods, murders, pimps, prostitutes, drugs, and it was survival of the fittest. I had an older brother who was 5 years older than me, so he didn't spend much time around the house. He was in the programs. He was very smart and intelligent. He was a special kid on the block that was always in school. Me and my sister got caught up in the street life. I was bullied a lot as a kid. I used to have pigeons, and one particular time some bully grabbed one of my pigeons and ripped his head off, and that was the first time I ever got into a fight. And I kind of like won. I was young, like 9, but I kind of like won. I like fighting ever since because it gave me attention. People would say, hey, you was that guy that beat that big kid up. You was that guy. And that was like, everybody knew me from that incident. And so after that, older kids would bring other kids from different neighborhoods around my neighborhood, and they would pay us to fight each other, and that's how I started fighting. I probably had... I've never expressed this. I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on and I've gotten older, and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that all greatness, the majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness.
two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, I want to say I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat, I never understood the concept of good. The concept of good is pretty much then I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side.
I was aware of everything I was doing. I was aware that I could become famous and the world could listen to me, that I could be somebody and my ego could just suck all this up. My cousin, we're all ego-driven. Listen, when I first met, because I thought they were living good, but he's living his woman companion, and this is her house. All this stuff is hers. And he convinced us somewhere that we're gonna get a great champion. We gotta turn this into a training camp, because he's a fanatic fight. That's all he lived for, fighting. He said, let's change this Victorian House 14, let's change this into a training camp. She convinced him to do this shit and had people sponsor him, and then I came along. He was born in 2000, he was 1908, I'm born in 1966. So my life was changed in 1908 was my destiny. And from being with Cuss is, what I was trying to explain, Cuss is very delusional.
As a human being, success is important to anybody, as it is important to you in your field, that you have a good interview or you become acclaimed in your particular field, as I did in mine. And people in every field, everybody wants to be, I would say, noticed about their accomplishments and their hard works. And so, yeah, I think I enjoy that as well. I watched, it's an actor in America, and his name is Chaz Palminteri. And he's a great actor, and he did a movie called The Bronx Tale. But in this particular night, I watched him do the whole movie on stage, and he did it by himself. And the movie was extremely successful. I mean, really a blockbuster movie, but I believe he did better on stage by himself than he did in the movie. He totally captivated everyone there, and he, I don't know, 9,000 people, 8,000 people, he just captivated us, and you couldn't hear nothing but his voice.